Abilene High and Southlake Carroll are two of the historic high school football programs here in Texas. They have a combined 15 state championships and 18 appearances. They've won roughly 1,000 games between them, and they've played 3 instant classics in the playoffs. But this is the first time that these two schools had ever met in the regular season. This game had another milestone of its own. Let's head inside of Dragon Stadium and find out more. Carroll head coach Hal Wasson looking for career win number 200, but he would have to beat Steve Warren's Eagles, who had already defeated 2 of Carroll's district opponents. Warren, by the way, at 185 career wins. Let's take a look at the histories of these two schools. Abilene High 7 state titles, but only 1 since 1956. Southlake Carroll 8 titles, all since 1988. Eagles tied 3rd all-time in state title victories, while the Dragons are tied with Salina for the most. Each team has been in the title game 9 times. Abilene with 652 wins in program history, while Carroll estimated to be at over 400. Enough history, though. Let's talk about the game. Carroll's starting quarterback Ryan Agnew warming up before the game. Opening drive, and Agnew ran in from 10 yards out to give the Dragons a quick 7-0 lead. In fact, both teams' defenses were late arriving to the stadium, as the two offenses combined to score touchdowns on the first 5 possessions of the game. Abilene stud sophomore running back Abram Smith, who torched San Antonio Warren earlier this season for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns, had a strong first half. He finished off the Eagles' first 3 drives with visits to the Carroll black and green end zone. Drive number 1, he ran 17 yards out to tie the game at 7. Next Abilene drive down to the Carroll 11. Smith horse-collared by the Dragon defender, but instead of getting mad, he simply dragged him into the scoring zone. He's only a sophomore, folks. He can't even legally drive yet. One more big run for Smith as he ran around the right side of the line and scored from 43 yards out. He finished with 137 yards for the game, though most of that came in the first half. Early on, Carroll couldn't stop Smith. Abilene couldn't stop little Jordan Humphrey, 6'5", and he looked like the belldozer all night. 4 touchdown runs, but none longer than 5 yards. He finished the night with 105 yards rushing.
I give that credit to the O-lineman for helping me open up holes for me to run through. That was big time for us. Converting those really gave us the momentum to play.
Key moment of the game in the second quarter with the chess match tied at 21. Carroll 4th and 1 at their own 39. Hal Wasson, though, went for it. Agnew handed off to Humphrey, who squirted through the line for a 3-yard gain and a first down. Same drive, 4th and 3 from their own 49. Wasson again told the punter to go back to the bench. Agnew kept the ball and got just enough for the first down. Trust me, folks, he did move the sticks.
We had a real complicated adjustment. We made strength calls and went to the football. That was it. We weren't lining up right, didn't make correct strength calls. For whatever reason, they adjusted, fixed it, and then just went and played football.
They snatched some momentum right there. I mean, it was back and forth at that point. The 2 fourth downs that they convert on that drive and punch it in, then we don't react, very well from that point forward, and they did.
As Steve Warren said, Abilene had no answer for Carroll after those 2 plays. Agnew with a 38-yard completion to Tariq Gordon down to the 9. Humphrey eventually scored from 3 feet out to give Carroll a 28-21 lead, and it all fell apart for Abilene from that point on. Quarterback Derek Scott's pass dropped by Trey Dennis would have been a first down at midfield. Instead, Eagles forced a punt, and Carroll kicked it into 4th gear. Backed up inside their own 15, Agnew fired a long pass completion to Zach Farrer into Eagle territory. Humphrey capped the drive off with a 5-yard scoring run, 35-21 Carroll. During that drive, Agnew suffered an injury and did not return after that drive. Backup quarterback Montana Murphy came in. He looked more like Joe Montana, or at least Tom Brady relieving Drew Bledsoe. 24-yard run by the junior set up Carroll inside the Abilene 15. A few plays later, he finished the drive off with a 3-yard touchdown run, 42-21 Carroll at the state-mandated halftime break. Third quarter, Scott drove his team down the field out of the locker room, but he was picked off by Purdue commit Andy Shelf. Only turnover of the game for either side, but it snuffed out any hopes of the big country team making a big comeback. Humphrey with a long rush to set Carroll up for another score. Just sit back and watch little Jordan go. The drive ended with the 7th rushing touchdown of the night for the Metroplex team as Murphy dragged and carried defenders into the black zone for a second of the game, 49-21 Carroll, and it's all over for Abilene.
Montana is trained extremely hard. He's been brought up through our system. It was his moment. He stepped up, obviously performed very admirably. There was never a doubt. We said, what do we adjust? We said, let's think about it. We don't adjust anything.
I just try to stay calm and act like it was practice and go out there and just run the offense and stay inside the offense and do what I do and just have fun and trust the offensive line.
Murphy threw a touchdown pass as well. By the way, look at the push-ups by the Carroll students after the touchdown. Several students so tired from all the scoring, they do the upside-down version of the push-ups. I don't know if that's how you do a push-up, but that looks much easier on the body. Hal Wasson pushed his win total to the magic 200 mark. Steve Warren came over to congratulate him as the final seconds expired. Carroll with a convincing 63-28 win over Abilene as the Dragons piled up more than 600 yards of total offense and outscored the Eagles 42-7 after picking up those key 4th down conversions in the second quarter.
I'm thankful for my family that moved around a whole lot to allow me to do what I do, and obviously the great coaches and the great players that I've been able to coach. It's a long legacy of a lot of guys, and I'm happy to win it with this group.
They kept the foot on the gas and we backed off, and lesson learned. I mean, we got beat by a championship level football team tonight. If we want to get to that level, then we're gonna have to learn from it and move forward going into district play.
Carroll will now move into the difficult District 7-6A with the likes of Euless, Trinity, and Coppell. Abilene, though, meanwhile, despite the big loss, a threat to win District 3-6A, and they too could be playing December football here in the Metroplex. Reporting from Southlake, Greg Sherman, TexasHSFootball.com.